أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Yeah.
We will be continuing the second flash, reading the third point today. Quickly, the second point last week was talking about how even in the presence of disasters and illnesses, human beings can realize that there is no need to complain about it. And a simple example is even we wouldn't know of us if we didn't feel hungry. This is just simply wrapping last week's discussion.
There is a wisdom in the order.
Yes.
Yeah. If the order says you have to be hungry and then you will eat and get satisfaction, that's the perfect. Neither get overjoyed with satisfaction, nor get disappointed with hunger. That is the order, how human beings develop, learn who they are. Simple. Okay.
Moving on, the third point reads, as we have pointed out in one or two of the words, whenever one thinks of his past life, he will say in his heart or with his tongue, either ah or oh.
It is complain or happy.
That is, he will either experience regret or say, thanks and praise be to God. Regret is inspired by the pains arising from the cessation of former pleasures and separation from them. For the cessation of pleasure is a pain in itself. Sometimes a monetary pleasure will cause everlasting pain. To think upon it will be like lancing a wound, causing regret to gush forth. Okay. As for the lasting spiritual pleasure that comes from the cessation of momentary pains experienced in the past, it inspires man to exclaim, thanks and praise be to God. In addition to this innate tendency of man, if he thinks of the reward that results from misfortune and the requital that awaits him in the hereafter, if he realizes that his brief life will count as a long life because of his misfortune, then instead of being merely patient, he should be thankful.
Instead of being merely patient, only patient, plus you should be thankful as well.
Thankful of the misfortunate? Or thankful to what?
Because of misfortune, look, if he realizes, try to understand the sentence. Okay. If he realizes that, study the sentence.
Okay. If he realizes that his brief life will count as a long life. Oh, okay. Because of misfortune.
Yeah. So in the study that
Right. So because even at the time of misfortune, one can
misfortune.
Misfortune.
Yeah.
One can still see the wisdom in it, or to recognize that it's still in order.
Only through the misfortunes that we understand our reality.
Only through.
Yeah.
Okay.
We always give this typical example. If we were not hungry, we would never appreciate
Right.
the food is prepared by someone who takes care of me, etc. If we didn't have any notion of, for example, darkness, we would never realize light exists. If we never experienced the lack of something, we would never appreciate when we have it. Never, let's say, there is no illness at all. You wouldn't know that you are healthy. Health is provided for you. It's simple. That's how we are. That's how the order in creation is. So simple.
And do we call it a misfortune because we experience pain in it, or is it a dislike to it? So if it's an event,
disliking something, feeling pain, which is also disliked, they're not happy with, don't criticize that the things which make me unhappy is bad. There is no bad in creation. We just touched upon it earlier on. Previous preceding discussions. In creation, there is no bad. But we don't like something. That's the confusion. If we don't like something, it doesn't mean that the existence of that thing is bad. That is the confusion most of the people are suffering from. We have to learn this. That the gist of this discussion, whole weeks we are studying, lies here. Don't mix up your unhappiness with the nature of the creation. Your unhappiness is very good. He said the hereafter. We have to understand this. The author mostly speaks to Muslim population. We have to understand that, well, we are Muslims too, but we have to make our reasoning convinced. Hereafter, for example, I will suffer here, and the hereafter God will reward me. It's a cheap way of treating the subject. But through this experience, unhappiness, through this experience of unhappiness here, brings the reward for eternity. How? Sorry?
you recognize that that's what you want.
So you recognize what?
That unhappiness is something you do not want, and instead of that, you want eternal happiness.
So what is eternal happiness here?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
Realizing that you have this need that has been given to you, and that entity that gave it to you must be the source of it, and him giving you that feeling means that there is a way to somehow reach that.
It means that is given to you by the one who created the universe, and he is the absolute one, he is the eternal one. So this eternal one is introducing himself to you through being needy. Catch this. If we were not needy, if this world wasn't transient, if we were not complaining about anything, we would never know that we are needy. And we will take everything for granted that the universe is as it is. That's what the materialists love to see the universe as it is. That's the trick, especially late 2-3 centuries. People's minds are conditioned about this. Universe is as it is. No. Universe is needy. They need to exist. They need to be given existence. They need to be given life. They need to be given perfect order. Everything must be provided in a wise way so that the things, although they change continuously, but they are taken care of. They are being taken care of. Somebody is taking care of their need. So only through the need, through the pain, we call it suffering. I don't believe in suffering. That's something else. Let's use it as a for the lack of a better word. Because of the sufferings, we realize that we cannot sustain our life. We are dependent. We are needy. It is beautiful. So if you don't like something which happens to you, take care of it, benefit from it, and be thankful. That's what the text is saying. Be thankful because you are able to reach out to the eternity only through this weak point that you are suffering from now. Which makes you feel needy. Do you get it? So eternal life, if you belong to the eternal being, eternal life is inevitable. Because you are given this is beautiful. We are given the love for life, because if there was no death, what would you do? You would never know that you have life. Only you get old, and at the end you die. You understand that you are given something and you lost now. So you love life. Everybody loves. So I too. We hate death. We run away from it. Yes, I do. Maybe you too. You are the same, like me, human beings. How can I keep my life? Can you keep your life? No, I can't. So I understand that life is given to me by someone, by something, and it is taken away by that one. But that source of life made me love the life. Do you understand? Wisdom. I don't love life just because I made myself love it. It is impossible. That's how I am made. Everybody, like the other human beings, we love life, a beautiful life. Not only ordinary life with no trouble, but we cannot guarantee. It's very simple. We should never complain about this existence, because thanks to this type of existence that we realize we are needy, and the one who created us with this need is introducing himself to me. He is the life provider, and he is not a part of this universe. He is the absolute one, eternal one, who created the whole universe with this order. Perfect. Teaching me, and calling me, hey, realize, I have given you life. Realize, and I am absolute. What does it mean? My life-giving attribute, quality is absolute. You got the eternal life now. Hereafter is yours. Whatever it is, you don't think. No. Well, how am I going to be alive in you? None of your business. You got the source. Now, put your trust in him. That is the solution for any human problem, predicaments. We think that we have not solved our problems. I never reached the nirvana. You can reach nirvana anytime you connect yourself to the eternity, consciously, not culturally. I believe in God, and nothing changed. Of course, nothing changed. Because when you say God, you mean some stories you heard from your parents.
But one can never reach nirvana permanently. I mean, that would be ideal to be in a.
Who made you, or what makes you say that one can never reach nirvana? Who said this?
Like, you can have moments where you do reach nirvana, but then life goes on, and then you're back.
You get to tie up again. That's a continuous call. Any creation renewed is another call. There is no end. Any creation renewed. Is there any moment that the creation is not renewed? No. It means there is no moment that there is no invitation to reconnect. So we are forgetful. I understand. We are neglectful. I understand. خلق الإنسان ضعيفا. I understand we are created weak. Yeah. We are fallible. Yeah. But the solution is only tying up your being or your qualities, your expectations to the eternal being. Nothing can solve you in this world. You can own a country, you can own the whole city, and you may have 1 million slaves. Think about it. None of them saves you. You know that one slave says, "Who are you, man? You are like me." That's it, you get disappointed. Because your whole ivory castle collapses. Because it has no reality. So it's very simple. Solution is extremely simple. We know that the solution lies in connecting yourself to the eternal one, that is principle. Practically, I may not connect. There are many people don't acknowledge the eternity at all, don't acknowledge God. But it doesn't mean that this solution doesn't work, because we have been given free choice.
I love the solution that is always proposed in this class, that when you attach your being to the eternal source, you find everything. You find eternal happiness. Yeah. Now the whole challenge is implementing that within your life. How do you do that?
Why do you look only for an excuse? Seems to be not to be happy with the solution. Here is the solution.
Right, I'm happy with it, but I'm having a hard time applying it.
But you have free will like me. So whether since you found the solution, here it is, you know that this is my illness and this is the medicine, is ready. Here, not far-fetched. No, it is within my reach. It is on the roof here, on the shelf. Here, I can get it. I may get it, I may not get it. That's I'm free. If I don't get it, it is my mistake. If I get it, this is already prepared for me. So simple. We are given free will. Never neglect that. I may go back to the eternity, tie up myself, refresh my mind. I may not. I'm free. That's why we have no reason to interfere into other people's life. And no, if they come, we can speak to them. We invite them. We try our best to approach them. If they turn back, leave them. The Quran keeps always saying that. If they turn your back and run away from you, leave them to me. Don't get disappointed. I did my best. Okay. They didn't listen. But practically speaking, did I do my best really? You can question the approach you took, the language you used, whether it was appropriate to human nature or not. We are learning. We may make mistakes. Okay. When you learn your mistake, don't repeat it. You have the free will not to repeat it. Don't keep repeating the same mistake and again by saying that I'm distressed. I feel pain. And this author is kindly trying to remind us that, look, all misfortunes, when you benefit from them, you will get eternity. Do you see? You lose $1 for one moment, and when you realize as a result of this event that you got endless treasure. Do you think this losing $1 was bad? Only through that you realize, I have a treasure, endless treasure. So never criticize anything misfortune in creation, in the order. These are all good for us. I think most essential sentence, I think we read last week, or we will read within this context, within this subject, evil does not exist. There is no evil in existence. Look, it doesn't mean that there is no evil in my choice. I may harm myself by disconnecting myself from my creator, but the order of the universe is created in such a way that it is apparent bad and apparent good, whatever, apparent. Essentially, everything is good. That's what we have to understand. Why?
There's no evil in creation.
No. In existence, no. There is no evil in creation, but I may choose to disconnect myself, to harm myself, and not to take notice of the message. That's my freedom.
The way I'm defining evil right now is taking like negative, you know how negative energy, perceiving something to be negative, that would be evil.
Yes.
That would be evil. So you're saying that
For you. But it is not the creation is evil. It is perfect. That it is calling you to connect yourself to your source of existence. It is an invitation. Who do you think you are? Can you do anything, or are you in need of, and who's taking care of your need? Very simple. This is an invitation for you to investigate the source of existence. Health. When you get ill, you understand that you had health. Where did I get it?
So that part I understand. We covered that last week. I'm trying to understand. So in the universe, basically, whatever qualities we see, everything is positive. It's my perception of it that would make it negative and hence evil. Are we on the same page?
Correct. I agree. That's your perception. In creation, everything is created on purpose in order to benefit us, human beings or conscious beings.
Now,
So
the message I get from the universe, I think this was covered on Wednesday's class, is transferred via angels.
whatever it is,
So-
don't name it, because we are not studying this name now.
Okay.
Something I'm receiving. That's
Okay, so
it.
I'm always receiving something positive. But then when I'm
News from their creator.
okay, which is positive, but when I'm processing it, I may turn it into something negative.
Because of my negative attitude. Confusion, very simple. The confusion is where? Because I don't like death, I will give this example, or illness, I quickly jump into the conclusion saying creation of death is bad. That's a very quick shortcut. Creation of death is bad. Because of the creation of death, I understand that I have an absolute, eternal, infinite source of life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to understand the existence of life. Because of my disliking death, that I appreciate life. And I question, where did I get it? Who gave it to me? What is the source of life for me? What is the source of existence for me? What is it?
I have a quick question for you. We always say everything is going on within the individual. So the universe is the manifestation of its creator's glory. And like we said, the qualities in there are all positive. They're being carried to me. So now they're being carried to me. Now I'm going to process it. And the way I internalize it can either turn it into evil for me?
For me.
For me, right.
Because of my misinterpretation.
Okay. Yeah, and how do you, why would I'm trying to understand how would I misinterpret something? Because of obviously it's my mistake, right? How does that happen?
You can turn your eyes off. You can say that I have no creator. My existence is by itself.
Even though
Endless choices. You can make any sort of excuses. But if you use your human qualities, you will definitely understand that these choices don't make sense. You are qualified for it. If you were not qualified with this understanding capacity, then you would be right, saying that, look, I cannot understand that I am created, I am made, I am given. Or that somebody gave existence to this universe. It doesn't make sense to me, for example. All those people who call themselves blunt denier of God, they take the existence for granted and then analyze it. We have to see the secret there. Or this, how do you say, pitfall or hidden agenda they don't want to acknowledge that. For example, they don't want to acknowledge the existence of my being. They don't want to acknowledge the existence of my life. They don't want to acknowledge that existence of my human qualities. Existence.
I have a quick question now. So when I'm interpreting something, there are two options. Either I fall into the negative side of things, like evil, or either I do go into confirmation. But even this process is under the will of the one who has given existence to everything. So even when I am subject to misinterpreting something, this is still under his divine will, but then I use it, like we're talking in this text, the misfortune, which I realize now, as a way to help myself, again, under his will, get out of it and then get into confirmation eventually.
So only through this process that we can confirm. Otherwise, if there was no option to deny, to reject, we would never be able to realize that we have the ability to confirm, and we are confirming. It doesn't work according to the conditions of this type of creation here. I have the free will to make decision. In order to make decision, I have to choose. I have to choose. If I had only one alternative, it is not choice. It is not decision. It is not the practice of human free will. It means I'm a robot, like a stone.
I have another question.
Do you get this
I don't
point?
get that. Please.
Sorry?
I don't get that.
How do you ask another question if you don't get this
My
point?
previous question is not.
No, because you don't pay attention to this. So if there was no choice, there would be no consciousness, awareness of the existence of anything. Because there's no choice. Only when you lose it, you know that, oh, I cannot keep it, and who's keeping it then? Who's giving it? If I not give it, do you think the storms are giving me? Do you think that the particles are giving me? Who are they? They need to exist as well. That's the main, simple, although people don't believe that it is so, the most powerful argument of the Quran. Simple. They themselves are in need of being created. How can they be creators? This is the very basic argument of the Quran. Very simple. And unfortunately, this point is not commonly used and utilized in order to understand human conditions. Actually, religion is not, the Quran is not used for iman purpose, belief purpose, foundations of the belief purpose. That is the problem. In our culture, Muslim culture, Christian culture, the prevailing culture, belief perspective of religious message or revelation has not been under discussion. So when we think that religion, any matter related to religion, any matter related to how to become a Muslim or how to live as a Muslim, as a Christian, as a Jew, whatever, as a Buddhist, we always jump out of this belief area, never talk about it, and start talking about the practical things. Now, when we face the problems in our life, we cannot solve it because there's no base for our religious life. So apart from outside of the religious life, there is no solution. They say, just you have to suffer and you have to die and rot away.
So I'm trying to understand the point that you were making is that because of the fact that we are given always a choice, it means that that's the reason why we have consciousness.
To become aware of, become aware of our reality and who our Lord is. If there was no choice, we would never be able to recognize who our Lord is. Who gave me this? What?
It's great to have choice, sometimes falling into the I mean, evil.
Still, yeah. Even you may misuse it. I misuse it a lot. Still, I never want to lose my power to choose.
Right.
Because if there was no power to choose, I would never ever be able to understand who I am and what is the meaning of existing here in this world. And I wouldn't notice that even I'm seeing, I'm hearing, my heart is beating, my blood is circulating. I would never. When I have skins to protect the blood, not to go out. Who prepared it? When something happens, when the blood starts gushing out, and then we say, oh, how can I stop it? How can I stop it? I don't want to lose it. And then I said, oh, who provided all this system?
Yeah, like I feel that
Only when I lose it, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Negative side, which we don't like, is be careful here. All the things we call them misfortunes, calamities, negative things, harmful relationship, my pressure from society, work, etc. The best side of existence.
Because it's the duality. So once you recognize that, then you go back.
And then that's how we understand what our reality is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if everything was perfect, okay, and nothing disturbs me, it means I would never understand who I am.
I have another question. Going back to, when I'm processing the message I get from the universe, remember I said there are two options, either the positive, I can interpret it in a positive side or a negative side.
There's no negative side in creation.
Yes, but I said I'm interpreting. Well, hang on a second. But when I'm interpreting it, so there should only be one option, like just a positive way to interpret it, which is okay, which makes sense because you have, you say, oh, this event, things happen for a reason, this happened, right? I mean, you can look into the bright side of things. What's that?
Better reason to help you.
Right. Yeah.
It is good for you. You need it.
Okay. So maybe now I'm gonna say that I can turn it into positive, something positive, but even that has two different compartments. Even if I interpret something into, if I experience an event, I interpret into something positive, I can put it into what I'm trying to say is
everything is positive.
Like if you read some books that says, oh, make sure how to turn any situation into opportunities, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm having a positive attitude. But then that can turn into evil for me if there's no source in it, right? That would
Eternal source.
Yeah, right.
Source.
Yes.
Of course. All secular psychological analysis are false.
Yes. Agree.
Definitely.
So that's evil for me, I would say.
Yes, they're all evil, although apparently they may seem to be elevating your pain temporarily, but no permanent solution. And without permanent solution, human capacity doesn't get satisfied.
And so that's a negative.
Yeah.
That's a negative attitude.
Ultimately, they are harmful.
And ultimately, it's a negative attitude.
Yes.
That's messed up.
Although, for example, let's say, this typical example, I know there are 1, 2, 3 people want to make comments and questions, but typical example, if you have a problem with your wife, what you should do? Now, get a bunch of flour and invite her out for dinner. She will love it. Okay, is it the solution? Your heart is the same. Her heart is the same.
That doesn't make her happy. I mean, there'll be peace at home, right?
No,
and you
it
do
is
this
a
every year until you die.
temporary solution, but This is the way which makes you not realize the permanent solution. This is just a cover-up thing. The simple example that somebody has pneumonia and coughing. Pneumonia. Sorry? Pneumonia. And coughing, of course. Cough is the sign. So take syrup, coughing syrup, and stop coughing. Is it good or not? Someone says
solve
no.
the root cause.
And also you don't realize that you have a serious problem. These secular solutions for happiness, for solving the problems, how to make money, how to make your fortune happy, blah, blah, how to get the job, these temporary solutions are taking coughing syrup. And then they don't help you. They don't establish a permanent solution, human solution. This is just cheating yourself. So everything is created which is not disliked by human beings, which we call them misfortunes, pains, bad things, is the best side of creation. We have to understand it. We don't like it, but the best side of creation, only through these kind of creation that we realize I have to attach myself to the eternal source, because it makes me, or gives me the opportunity to realize who my eternal owner is. Absolute owner is. Otherwise, I would never connect myself to him. I think we were the first.
Yeah, but it's not going to be relevant anymore. I think when we were talking about just separating the existence of something than our perception of it, right? Is that what we were talking about? That's the difference we're trying to make here.
So separating,
like, so the existence of, for example, existence of death is completely different than our perception of
Correct.
death.
the perception, not
That's what we're trying to
liking
separate
death.
here.
Yeah, not liking death.
So death existing has one meaning, and you not liking it has a completely different meaning.
Exactly.
Irrelevant, yeah. But relevant, but we have to process it. It is relevant, yeah. I don't like that. I run away from it.
But
If
I'm
I
still
have
happy it
something,
exists.
sorry?
I don't like it, but I'm still happy it exists.
Yes. I'm very happy that it is created. Yeah. So if she give them the cookies, brownie, yeah, and they can have it. If they are going to make noise, they can have it outside, inshallah. But they can have it. Give them brownies, so they will be happy. So one, and you. No, somebody raised it. No, this you raised, but there was third person. Am I mistaken? Okay, no force. No. Yeah. You have a comment or question or anything?
There was a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
And sort of, I guess mine was a comment and a question. I don't like to.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't have to name it. No problem.
So, what I found really interesting, intriguing, is the duality of the order.
Yeah.
And so just like you're saying that in order to recognize one thing, which is really in the sense that you want to recognize everything does come from the creator, and that's the purpose, is to recognize that, you have to have perhaps the negation of that. And what I found interesting is when discussion about angels, and I know you said you don't want to go into
the name. Only the name.
The
of
name.
course, you can say, the good side of the messages. Yeah, because our subject is, because people may have a funny understanding of angels, which is very cultural.
Yeah.
So where are they? That is the source of problem.
Yeah.
Message carrier.
So let's not get into this problem. So,
I don't want to get into this sort of anthropomorphic
whatever.
discussion. But in the negation of that, so this is a thing that we've talked about, that there are these message bearers of the truth.
Yeah.
And this is constant, but now it's our perception then that can change that, our understanding of what we see.
Yeah, that's our perception and interpretation accordingly.
Right.
So convincing ourselves with the result of our interpretation.
Right.
Because if you don't question first, if you are not aware of existence of anything, there is no way to question the source of existence.
Right.
So if you are aware of the existence of something, only you can appreciate it when you lose it, or see the possibility of losing it.
Right.
Then you understand that it is not you who is the source of existence of that thing. Then, if it is not me, it cannot be the particles. Because I'm a conscious being, I have free will, I can study. Particles are robots, as they are created.
Yeah.
They have no choice.
Yeah.
So, if it is not me, they cannot be, definitely not be, impossible. So, what is the source? Beautiful. What is the source? So, the particles, and me including, are given existence with these qualities. By what? By what? The particles means the universe. By what? It means, as the Quran encourages always, think about the source of existence of the universe. Samawat wa ard. That's how people understand heavens and earth. Think of the existence of everything together. We cannot separate one thing. That's the trick of secularist approach. What they say, study only one thing. What is this? Right, let's say, what is this? This is a pencil. It's made of plastic. Told them around that.
So
But existence of plastic, existence of making, existence of a notion of pencil, never discussed. Never. It is made of plastic. How come the plastic turned into? Do they have a free will? It adapts himself. What? It is this. It is. Everybody knows that it is subject to the order of the universe. An order of the universe is one, unique. Whole makes one universe. No, you cannot separate one thing and study it independently, separately. Now your question.
Yeah,
now you have a question.
Yes. So since secular psychology or psychological therapy is false, which I completely agree, is the reason or the source of all the psychological illnesses or issues a disconnection from the eternal source, or like a disbelief in this? Is that the source of the psychological problems people have mostly?
Now, this is existing. Yeah, whatever the problem we call it, or the distress, we call it psychological concerns, we call it. This is existing. So I have a free will, I have to utilize it. I have to utilize it. So use my free will, question the existence of the thing, and then connect myself to the creator. So the creator, it means eternal source. So eternal happiness becomes possible. But these problems may caused by biological factors or one's wrong attitude without the interference of one's free will. For example, if someone, God forbid, has a tumor in his brain, well, it has a problem. And Not because he is interpreting the things wrongly, because of the biological factors that he cannot really reason properly. So, for this man, for this person, is not responsible because it is not out of his free choice. You get it? You have to be patient, be careful here. Not every psychological problem is the result of human interpretation. Biological factors are beyond your capacity. It, if you like, eliminates your free will that you are making, biological factors, that you are making an interpretation. You are not making an interpretation freely. You feel something because of the biological factors. We are not concerned with it. This is something like a person has a problem with his stomach. He goes to the medicine and has an operation, whatever, the way to treat it. But interpretation is important. But in biological or psychological problems caused by biological factors do not include human free interpretation out of his will. Is not responsible. So a person under the influence of the tumor in his brain killed somebody, and analyses are made and definitely understood that it wasn't his free choice. What do? Human beings, how do they decide? Do they put him in prison? Because it wasn't out of his free choice. We are responsible. We are talking here about our free interpretations by using our free will. Kufr, unbelief, is the result of not biological factors. One's obstinacy. It is his choice. Otherwise, this person wouldn't be responsible. Yes. If a stone made into a statue, let's say, and people are worshipping it there, there is no such thing, but let's assume that it is, right? Do you think God will punish this stone if you were a statue? But it doesn't make sense. It is not out of his choice. It's choice in stone. It's not out of its choice. So stone itself, there are scholars, previous Muslim scholars said there's no idol. Human beings turn the things into idol as a result of their choice. Otherwise, there is no idol existing in the world. It's interesting. They realize that it is not the fault of the stone turned it into an idol, made into an idol. For example, if someone has a bad intention and studies a cell or an organ, human organ, and takes it into the lab and makes an analysis and concludes that this thing is not created, it is developing itself. Are you going to punish that evidence, in quote unquote, in the hands of this person who interprets it in the wrong way? This is the organ, whatever, let's say a kidney, for example. This is the organ caused this man to unbelieve or deny. No, the kidney is perfect. It emitted its message, but this man rejected it.
Or interpreted it wrong.
This rejected the message.
Okay.
They're the same thing, but it starts from rejecting the message deliberately.
So hang on a second, let's get this straight. I think maybe I lost my train of thought. So a person in the lab is doing an analysis on a kidney,
Yeah.
and he says the kidney is developing by itself.
Yeah.
So
Whose fault is it?
the person's fault is because he is not digging deeper. He's interpreting it wrong.
It's rejecting the real message coming from the kidney.
He's rejecting the real
Rejecting,
message
yeah.
coming from the kidney.
Yeah, because he's of prejudice. Because of his prejudice. Not innocently. Not innocent. Because by definition, if we realize that human beings cannot become unbelievers innocently.
I see that as an innocent interpretation.
Sorry?
I see that person's analysis and
Interpretation, but starting from where?
the kidney is producing itself
No.
because he has not done.
No, the kidney is the best example of its creator. It's the qualities of its creator. I am made by the absolute being. It is the message is coming. I don't want to use the angel.
Message.
Message is coming. You understand? Message is coming. I cannot exist by myself. I cannot organize my being, my qualities by myself, emitting the message. The man says there is no creator.
He's not reading the message.
Sorry?
He's receiving the message, but his receptors are not open.
No, but why is it not open? No one is innocent. No one is innocent. No one is innocent. Children are different.
Well, I'm gonna say
No
somebody
one is
walks in
innocent.
there. Let's say somebody walks in there and say, "Hey, this kidney is projecting message." Then I would say, now he knows this. He's not innocent. But like at first glance,
Sorry?
he doesn't know.
No.
He never heard of.
Be careful. That's another subject. Look, it is not directly related to the third point we are studying today. But be careful. If I don't make up my mind that there's no creator, there's religion is trash, right? I'm not going to give away to theological perspective or dimension. These decisions, and then try to see what is going on in the body or existence of the kidney. Example, kidney. Yeah? Kidney. If you say, close your door to the possibility that it might have been made, then human beings automatically understand that it is made. Only our wrong attitude that we are misled. That's what we have to understand. Why I say this. I keep repeating during our discussions that belief requires a conscious process, positive process. Denial requires not a conscious process, but deliberate rejection. It means there is no God. Religion is trash. So what shall I do? How can I explain the existence of kidney? That is why after closing the possibility for them, they think that they are confident in their findings. That is why the scientists speak with a proud and confidence. Because first they decided not to believe in it. The typical example, those people. Let me see whether kidney can exist by itself. All the qualities happen to be accidentally. If I see that accident happens in the world, I would attribute the existence of these qualities to accident. 3, that is the only way to confirm the reality. If someone takes either the existence of, non-existence of God, make it appropriate to our subject, non-existence of God for granted, and another side is very important and we don't want to acknowledge that. Taking the belief in God, in the existence of God, for granted is equal. That is very dangerous, because we take belief in God for granted and then start living our religious life. We ignore that. We don't want to see, we don't want to accept it. It's very interesting human psychology, that I took something for granted. It was wrong. What I do, I sympathize the deniers. They took something for granted as well. I don't want to see it because I don't want to see my reality. My reality, I took something for granted when I say I believe in God. That is very human empathy, empathy. My pronunciation, but my pronunciation is horrible, so you may confuse. Empathy means if I complain about my misfortune, as I understood, and if my friend starts complaining about his misfortune, we become very nice friends. And then we start drinking together. We say, why don't we come along and let's go out for a dinner together? We love it. That's the source of gossip. That's why people gossip each other. Gossip. Gossip, they love each other. Especially this famous, those women doesn't have anything much to do, just householding, and that's it. Cheat their husbands, I'm very busy, tired, but they're gossiping. Never ending telephone call speech. Yeah? Never ending telephone, always. Even walking, they seem to be a very big man, businessman. They are very busy, receiving a lot of orders from all over the world, something like that. No, they are gossiping. They do that trash talk. Now, human empathy is very important. If I am an imitator, I empathize the imitator deniers. Right? I don't want to see their weak point, because the weak point is common between us. I am an imitator, he is an imitator as well. This psychology is extremely important, not to understand the deniers, but to understand my reality.
Can I say a little something? I understand that part.
Good, alhamdulillah. There's a very tricky thing that not many people are aware of. Very tricky, especially the taken for granted religious communities. Forget about it. Yep.
No, yeah, totally. We do that a lot. Like, hey, I'm in the same boat, let's get together. My point was, like, for example, some of the concepts that you're presenting us in these halakas, like presenting us in these discussions.
Yeah, in these discussions.
Right. It's not really unheard of, I guess, for most of us, at least for me, right? Like outside here, like I have never, you don't hear that. But this is like what I'm trying to say.
Not really unheard of.
Sorry,
no,
not really heard of.
Not really heard of.
Right, exactly.
Otherwise, people don't have this halakha, because everybody is doing the right thing. Why should you bother? Why should we bother?
Good. Okay. Right. Yeah. So it's not really heard of.
Yes.
Right.
Well, thank you for the correction. Yeah.
Okay. Like if you hear this for the first time.
Yeah.
Then now I'm not innocent anymore. But prior to hearing it, prior to not hearing it, I was innocent.
Prior to not hearing it.
I'm like really out of my mind. Prior to not hearing it, I was innocent.
So prior to hearing, I don't know.
That's not that.
Before you heard it.
Prior to hearing.
No.
You can just say before hearing.
Look at it is human beings, all right? Look, let me give you a secular example. Don't worry. As long as I understand the language, I understand your reasoning.
But you always say language is important.
Yeah, language is important, but I understood her language. Now, let's be on the secular side and then religion. So, secular side, say, let's say in this society, a certain action was not prohibited by law. Yep. And this month, they introduced a new law and new responsibility. Yes, this law brings to you. And somebody found out that last year you did this. Whatever is outlawed. So, but you did last year and took it to the court. What do you think the judge will do? Last year.
Can penalize me because
You cannot
he cannot. Yeah.
penalize you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before. This is a very common secular law principle. Yeah. Now, what the Quran says, we are not going to punish the people for whom we have not sent the messenger. So, very typical example which will convince you because of your cultural background. All the companions were enemies, almost all. The enemies of the Prophet tried to kill. What happened? They are given the good news of paradise while they are here in this world. They were very severe enemies of belief, the Prophet, the Quran, everything. So we don't know before we are introduced the message. We are so never ever give a judgment, pass a judgment for anybody, but one thing, for yourself either. You know, before I didn't know that I was I really bad? No, you are now as you are. And God promises that He is going to treat you with your best. Now you are like this, okay. That's the highest. For example, let's say you took 10 tests or exams in a class. You failed, and the last one you took, you got, let's say, a good mark. You are going to be treated according to the good mark. So, according to your understanding capacity, according to your belief that you reached at the highest. So, don't judge. Judge about yourself either. Leave it to God, because God always warns. In our consciousness, we know that we shouldn't be judgmental. And in the Quran also keeps repeating that judgment, apart from God, there is no judge. No one can decide about anything except God. So this, yeah, you can say, this is wrong, this is right for me.
So I'm treated according to my best performance.
So that's what God promises.
Aesthetic.
Look, that's what God promises, and your being also is endowed with this understanding that, yeah, you should really appreciate a person according to his best performance. Yep.
So, okay. So the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the test afterwards, I don't perform well. So the one that's at peak would be.
Yeah. Yep. So good, huh?
I think a long time ago, you and I had a discussion about Western and Eastern and Islamic consciousness.
So which consciousness?
Like Western consciousness versus Eastern consciousness and versus Muslim consciousness. I brought to you the point that I'd read somewhere. I was reading an old Hindu text, and it was talking about how East thinks versus how West thinks. Like West thinks you have to acquire knowledge, that knowledge is external. Eastern consciousness is more like knowledge emerges from within. Whereas Muslim, and you pointed to me actually, that the Muslim consciousness was more like you look at knowledge and your heart affirms to whether this is the right or not, or confirms it. Now, subhanAllah, we live in a world where Islam is so distorted, and or the Islamic practice has become so demonized or dehumanized that you're sort of forced to step away from Western consciousness which we all are trained in, and to really examine and investigate what really Islam is about.
Yeah, we have investigated. Yeah.
Right. So then it sort of brings you to these points where you kind of end up, if you're like, you cannot like just stay away from not knowing what your faith is now at this point in time history. So like everything that's being projected is so crazy. How would you want to be a part of a religion that, you know, is promoting all this craziness? So you end up investigating, coming to these classes and learning how to really.
No, the approach is okay, but the language is problematic. What do we mean by being a part of a religion?
Exactly.
No, we are
Practicing it.
actually confusing with the being a part of a community is not being a part of a religion. Religion belongs to God. Community has its own culture. Maybe godly, maybe ungodly. We don't know. So we have to make a clear distinction. I have to identify myself with the religion of God. It means I am in connection with God. I don't have to identify myself with a certain group of people who call themselves Muslims. If we have agreement on what they do, what they say, what they claim, if coincides with it, I will say, I agree with this. If it doesn't, if something doesn't, I will say, I disagree. So if you find somebody or some person, you almost agree with everything, you identify with this person because you agree with this person and get married with him. If you find it's a joke, but at the same time, the realities, you know. So we have to make the distinction between certain communities, certain cultures, and God's religion. This subject is a very subtle subject. We never discussed this, which is we touched upon a little bit, but it is not enough at all. It's a big subject. What religion is? What is religion? In our understanding, in the teachings of the Quran, and how the culture presents religion, history presents religion. We have to make distinctions. So this is a big subject, and also religion and or versus, if you like, or be careful here, religion and the difference between religion and belief in God. They are not the same. Have you paid attention to this? In the language of the Quran, it is not the same. In our practical life, is not the same. I say I believe in God. It's not artificial, no, real, but religion is my practicing that belief in my life. But practicing means practicing belief in my life, extended into rituals. But if I don't make this distinction, saying that, look, I believe in God, how about my religion? It means way of life. How am I putting this belief in God into my life? That is the problem. We have been struggling this morning since 10 o'clock. No. So belief in God is one step. Religion is another step.
It follows belief in God. Religion follows.
Follows, also put into practice. And plus adding the rituals and the prophetic dimension prophetic dimension. Do you get it? Prophetic dimension to believe in God is a big, huge problem.
I thought it was the same right now, belief.
No. That's not our subject. Just a minute. We cannot go into it. It is a subject. It takes weeks to study. But simply put it, one thing that we have to realize since the subject came here, because we are having problems with identifying ourselves with the community. That's my problem. I'm trying to overcome it. I have to be thankful that mostly I solved my problem, but it took me years, to convince myself that, look, community, whatever they claim, doesn't matter whether they claim Jewish or Christian, Muslim, that doesn't matter, is a completely different animal than my connection with God. So how can I make this distinction now? My problem was this. What is my belief in God and those people who say that we believe in God as well? When you look at the scripture, it gives a perfect guidance. Not all of them are the same. The Quran says, Laysa, I don't remember the word. Laysu sawa. Do you remember this verse? Not all of them are the same. The people of the book is different. And also some ambiguous, not very clear point there. Well, some people of the book are mentioned in a name which doesn't mean anything. Really, historically, people try to find out, but it doesn't work. It means there's mystery there or secret that I have to be careful. And among the believers in one God, and the Quran says those people who claim that they are believing in one God, but they are hypocrites, and you don't know them, leave them to me. There are some hypocrites, and I don't know them, and I'm not going to make distinction. So understanding religion not in terms of fiqh rules. If someone says, La ilaha illallah, finish. If someone says, I believe in God, finish. I have no other judgment to pass on this person. But how about my identifying myself with this person? Is a completely different matter, which we don't know. We don't realize that I have to watch out. When I say that I belong to a Muslim community, what do you mean by Muslim community? Believers. The Quran says believers. So what do you mean by believers? Yeah. Or we have to come up with the conclusion that theoretically, I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. Practically speaking, if someone says, I believe in God, that's it. I have no judgment to pass otherwise. That's it. But in other practically speaking, it doesn't mean that I have to get married with this man, this person, because he said, I believe in God. Why? Practical life is different. So it doesn't mean that my identification with a certain society will based on, because they said, I believe in God, and I say, I believe in God, so I have to share everything with them. No, because they make mistakes. And they may have some hypocrisy in their actions. I may have some hypocrisy in my actions. No one knows. So I have to be selective. Here comes a lot of other factors. Yeah. The prophets represent religion. That's what we don't know. Without prophets, there is no religion. Watch out. Believe in God brings you or makes you a deist. Not deist.
Okay.
Yeah. Not doesn't bring you a religion. It means your life. These are different subjects that normally you wouldn't hear it commonly. No. But we have to at least be aware that, look, this matter is not very simple. You say that I believe in God and I am done and finished. No, we have to work on it. We have to take this belief, this life seriously. We are not here in this world to make our profession perfect and retire and get a good amount of retirement and then have a world tour and die. So that is not the purpose of life. What we have to work on these kind of matters seriously. It must be our prime purpose of existence. We have to work on why I am here, what I should do, how I should live in this world. Yeah, don't say that I'm a Muslim. So, okay, I'll go to the Friday prayer. I become a member of a Muslim community. Yeah, it doesn't work.
So work on establishing your belief in God, and then the rest, step by step, pick it up, like the whatever rituals that you are supposed to be following under a certain prophet.
Process.
Okay.
Never ending process. So we have to be serious in this matter. Really. Once or twice a week, joining the halakha can only be an incentive. Yeah, but hearing something new perspective, that's what I try to do for myself. Anything new for me. I mean, I even don't want to repeat a word which is already in tradition, in culture. But I didn't let people say angels, for example. It is on the culture. But it needs a special study. It's not simple. We have to admit that, sorry, we don't know this matter seriously. Believe in God, believe in angels, believe in the speech of God, believe in the prophets. What are they? What are they? Believe in the prophet, for example, is completely different from belief and being convinced that Muhammad was one of the prophets. And I don't know Muhammad, who Muhammad is. I don't know. Wallahi, I don't know. I've never seen. Do you know if you never said? I don't know. You don't know. Even those people, look, we have to understand this. Even those people who lived in Mecca during the Prophet's life, they didn't know who Prophet Muhammad was. They saw a silhouette of a man. That's it. Muhammad is different from what you see a person. It is one of the messengers. Without seeing the person or messages. And if you saw the man, you have to see the message in this man. Otherwise, this man says things. He's an engineer. Yeah? He thinks he's an engineer. You can market yourself as an engineer. By seeing him like this. Do you think I have realized that he's an engineer somewhere through the eyes or something? How can you say that I saw Muhammad? I realized that he is a messenger. That's a problem. We have to understand this. So, belief in messengership, existence of this concept, is different from saying that a historical man whom I heard or whom I saw in Mecca, let's say I lived with him, through the filter of the message, I get that he's one of them. If you saw it through the filter of the message. Otherwise, whether I see it or not doesn't matter. Most of the time, be careful. I know you want to ask a question, but this subject is so crucial. You hear a hadith narration, and somebody says, Muhammad told me this. Who is this man, Muhammad? Yeah? Even the people of that time in Mecca didn't hear it. They are relying on the narration. They are not really experiencing this guy as being an engineer, computer engineer, practicing it. Unless I see, or it was wrong. Unless I see, plus as much as I see, he is practicing the engineering, I am aware of his being an engineer, not more. So don't say that, look, we have not met Muhammad. I'm being very rude here. I'm not saying sallallahu alaihi wasallam because I meant a man who's called Muhammad. That's why I'm being rude. So we are unlucky. Those people who lived with him were lucky. No, depending on how much message they saw that this person was really practicing and teaching, and you experience it, right? That much you can be convinced that he is bringing the message from my creator. He must be one of the messengers. Prior to this, be careful here. You never hear this from anyone. Prior to this, you have to develop that a concept, a phenomenon must exist in this universe, which is called, this phenomena, messengership. Do you really understand? And are you really convinced that in this universe, there must be messengers of the creator of the universe in human form?
So I first need to develop this phenomenon that there must be a messengership.
And then
I
see the qualities of the messengership, and then see how this quality appeared to be in one sentence, in one narration, in one action. Whether you live in the time of the prophet or not, doesn't matter.
That point I'm trying to understand. So for example, in the analogy you give of the engineer, until I don't see the engineer fixing something, I wouldn't know that he's an engineer. But let's say if I hear that from someone that, hey, this engineer fixed something and so he's got these qualities. So
let me help you.
Sure.
If this guy who claims and says I am an engineer didn't perform anything in front of me, but he prescribed or wrote something to me saying that, Ali, if you do this, you will solve your problem with your computer. Right? I got this prescription, one sentence, two sentences, and apply it. It works. I say, this guy is an engineer. Now, that is the value of narration. Otherwise, even you live in Mecca, you don't think that Mecca or Medina. You don't think that 2,000 people, 3,000 people in Medina were or heard what the Prophet said to this man? No, only one person heard. He is narrating it. We are all hearing the narrations. Be careful. So they heard the narration. I heard the narration. What is the difference? Understand this? Without establishing the notion of messengership, necessity of the notion of messengership, you cannot just say that I believe in Muhammad, he was a messenger. It is nothing. First, you should be thirsty about the messengership in this universe. There must be messengership. Who can be? Who can be? Like this machine, for example, you look at it and there must be a repair guy. Not the engineer, a repair guy who understands how it works. Otherwise, giving all this to me, and I don't know how to operate it. There must be somebody. The engineer of this machine, the company of the producer of this machine must also provide instructors. This concept, and then I am here. Well, where is the instructor here? There must be an instructor. I have a problem when I'm using this. There must be. So somebody says, there is somebody in our neighborhood who says that he knows how to repair the computers. And then either I go and see him or I get the guidance from him, a guidebook prepared by him, and follow it and repair it. Then I say, this is the instructor. You get it?
Yes.
No, this is not that simple, saying that Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. It's done. No. Not only for the converts. No. Converts are lucky. You know why? At least they go through a transformation. But for us, we have never experienced that transformation either. We are really horrible in our situation, just following something we don't know what we are doing. Generally speaking, just we may follow some certain historian's narration of something. Yeah, historian's narration. That's very dangerous.
So I'm thinking, how is that legacy of the instructor carried on, and the instructor here being the messenger, right?
Yeah.
To me now.
Doesn't matter which physical personality he was, you don't know.
No, right, but to the
You cannot know. Anyways, but whoever is the source of this message must be the instructor. Each message must be there. Do you get it? You are carefully listening. So whoever is the source of this instruction, this teaching. No. Narration you are.
The narration.
So is narrated from somebody. I don't know who he is. No one knows.
Okay, I get it. The source of the narration is the instructor.
Yeah. So the source of this narration, it is whoever he is, must be the instructor. That's how you confirm Muhammadan abduhu wa rasul.
Fair enough, yes.
Yeah. So this is the why I brought this subject. This is the source of religion. Living with the messenger. Without living with the messenger, there's no religion. You believe in God, it's different. Yet there are many people who claim to be, let's say, following a certain tradition. They believe in God. Yes, they sincerely believe in God. Most of the Catholics believe in God. Do they confuse at all? Some Protestants confuse with other things. They believe in God, the Creator. Buddhists, Hindus, believe in God, the Creator. Billions of people. Okay, all right. Religion is a completely different matter. And identifying, that was the source of the last piece of today's discussion. Identifying yourself with a religion is another matter. Identifying yourself with a certain group of people is irrelevant. It is not another step. No, irrelevant. Because people may have mistakes, shortcomings. Yeah, I'm a friend of everybody as long as agrees with my values in life. Yeah, in life. Yeah, it's dangerous to say, but it goes against the culture. It may be this person may be calling himself Christian, Hindu, Jew, Muslim, even agnostic. As long as I agree with this, what you do with one thing, and I can do together with you, I am a part of your community. And then, for example, the second step, you start doing something which I don't agree. Yeah, I dissociate myself with. And it's not I don't belong to your community. Second step. That's why the Quran must be, how the Quran must be understood. When they say, don't take Christians and the Jews as your friends, some people say, as your protectors, some people say, but depending on the interpretation of the word. Who are they? Those people who are from France, they are all Christians. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work in this way. It may be a person next to you praying. He may have a Christian idea which identifies what Christianity is. It means cause has an effect. Jesus was the source of his miracles. Let's say, but don't misunderstand, your parents have an effect on you, Christian. So no. I cannot really identify myself with it. Although we pray together, yeah, pray together is different.
So that's wrong to say you cannot identify yourself. That's wrong to say you cannot identify yourself with someone who has a different ideology than you.
No,
That's
social context, social constructions are artificial. Now we have to understand it. Yeah?
So within a social construction,
It doesn't work.
Different people with different ideologies.
Of course, different understanding, different perceptions, different strengths, different weaknesses.
So what varies here? What were we talking about?
So you don't generalize it. I am a part of this group. I am not a part of that group. No, you cannot generalize it. Only in physical terms you can generalize. The physical terms means, for example, somebody attacks your city and they are trying to kill all of you or draw you away from the city and occupy your property. You defend yourself together. Why? Because the common cause is correct to defend your property. Afterwards, what the Prophet did, together with Jews, together with polytheists, together with Muslims, they defend Yathrib, Medina. Yeah, practically people didn't come with him. Okay, we said, okay, we have to defend our country, our city. There were some people really convinced. Some people came there just to show their chivalry, bravery. Okay, what can you do? Yeah, what can you do? So if a Jew came and said that I have to keep the treaty, we had a treaty, I want to join to defend the city, Medina. And the Prophet said, you are the best of Jews. Appreciate a Jew. Oh, well, Prophet was a friend of a Jew, huh? How can you say that? Prophet appreciated a Jew, huh? No, it's very, 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 we have to be very careful.
So can you get back to, and your point in bringing up all this is that we have to establish belief in God first, and then religion follows.
But religion has many steps. Huh? First, establish that instructors, there must be instructors in this creation.
Yes.
And then a narration comes to you. The owner of this narration is the source of, is the sign that this is an instructor. I agree with, I confirm it. And then you identify yourself with this instruction, share if anybody else. At that moment, you are a part of the community now. At that moment that you share the common thing in practical life.
Okay.
Now, well, for example, we have dinner together, and at the end of the dinner, the brother said, that the person said, now, we can gamble now. Let's enjoy life. Eh? We are full. I said, no, okay. I ate dinner together. We were together. When for gambling, sorry, I don't. This is what I mean? So there is no 100%. Only some certain cases. Defending together the city, and after the defending is over, you start.
Community, I go to my community.
Yeah. Yes. No. You have to, because you cannot find 100% perfect person.
So you cannot have someone practicing the same religion as you. That's what you're saying, in other words.
You may not be practicing the truth perfectly. I may not be practicing the truth perfectly. We can only unite when you and I agree on the same point, as long as on this point. So we have to be comfortable. You don't have to agree with your wife, husband, friend 100%. You don't. Don't be idealistic. As long as you have a common ground, establish your life on the common ground, and
Stay away from quarrels, as in.
Of course.
That's your opinion.
Don't fight. Don't fight over if the person doesn't ask you. Or if he asks you kindly, I don't agree with this.
Oh.
But explain why. Don't try to convince force. No, it doesn't work. Force doesn't work.
So in other words, religion is really my own perception, right? When I establish belief.
Ultimately.
Thing, right?
So
I call it Jewish. I
So,
associate myself with the Jewish.
what we can say here, very famous phrase, mind your business.
MYOB, guys.
Yep. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yep. NYB. That's correct. Mind your business. Don't try to convince people and make them agree with you 100%. It doesn't work. It is not realistic at all.
Sometimes you're trying to do that without bringing any religious element into it.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. You may have a business partner, but it doesn't mean that you are going to get married with this business partner. Marriage life may not work. Business life may work. We have to be comfortable. Don't expect 100% perfection from anybody. Impossible. Impossible.
This needs elaboration too.
Yeah, we have to think about it. I think the last bit today we discussed was very interesting and not very commonly heard.
I think it's just more rejected, Dr. Murmur. I mean, I think it's great that we're talking about what we've talked about in the last like 15 minutes. I feel like I have tried to have those kinds of discussions with people, but I think there is a problem in the community around me sometimes, and that people want to reject each other and they don't want to have this conversation sometimes.
Depends, you know. We say we have to be flexible.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have them high expectations, and take care of our responsibility. It doesn't mean that we are perfect, they are bad. No, maybe they are perfect, I'm bad. But I have to know my limits. I have to know my capacity. I have to know my values. And I have to try to establish a relationship on common values. And don't expect that all values will be common, so that we will be a united community and fight against kufr. I don't know who they are. Bismillah.
Question.
Oh, we are getting really late. Yeah.
I don't know if we get in trouble for saying this. Perhaps we should leave it for next time. So we are the ones who are associating the Prophet as being Muslim, like giving him, assigning him.
No, we are bringing very cultural elements, Muslim or this kind. What are they? No, it is too much. Prophet, what do you mean by prophet? You most probably mean by an historical hero, which is called Muhammad, or what?
Too right now.
So no,
Religion, I feel.
settle down. Everything is new. You heard today, the last 15, 20 minutes. So work on it, digest it, and then slowly, you will realize that, I have to be realistic. True. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It's too late. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة السر